something a little different today. The Mary Poppins Returns trailer dropped the other day, and it seems to be trending all over the internet. We haven't watched it yet, so we're going to watch it with you and give you our live reaction to it. So here we go. It almost looks like the stage set.
I honestly can't remember why we kept most of this stuff to begin with.
Don't you remember that kite? We used to love flying that with Mother and Father.
Those days are long behind me.
He's the voice of Paddington.
He is.
That's why I live and breathe.
Mary Poppins.
I was flying the kite and it got caught on a nanny.
Mary,
Poppins, you came back.
you seem hardly to have aged at all.
Really? One never discusses a woman's age, Michael.
Oh, that's
I hope
great.
I taught you better.
I like how she looked out the mirror.
What brings you here after all this time? Same thing that brought me the first time. I've come to look after the bank's children.
Us?
Oh, yes, you too.
She means the parent.
We're about to lose our home. Everything's fallen to pieces since your mother.
I like the music.
I miss Mother.
Nothing's gone forever, only out of place.
It's a good thing you come along when you did, Mary Poppins.
Oh, he's got the Cockney accent like Dick Van Dyke did.
Do that.
Do what?
That's cool.
Oh, see, they use the two-dimensional animation just like the original. That's great.
So you've been off filling the children's heads with stuff and nonsense.
You've forgotten what it's like to be a child.
Angela Lansbury. Dick Van Dyke was dancing.
Even the impossible. Off we go.
I like that.
It's cool.
Very cool. Okay, so what did you think?
I thought I liked the music, how it went along with the actions. I thought it was funny. And some of the parts I thought was like really cool. And I liked how they were all playing the parts good and stuff.
Now, what did you think of her as Mary Poppins? Because, of course, Julie Andrews was the original Mary Poppins, and that's sort of an iconic role. She won the Oscar for Best Actress for that. And this is... Now, Emily Blunt, I think, is a great actress, and I think the casting is definitely right. But are you okay with her as Mary Poppins?
Yeah.
I got to tell you, now Mary Poppins wasn't one of necessarily my favorite films as a kid. It wasn't the type of film I was into. But when she came down right from that first segment, when she came down with the umbrella and her foot touched the ground, I actually literally got chills, which surprises me because I wouldn't think that film would have that effect on me.
Right.
And I thought she looked great in the part.
Yeah.
I love
I
how...
liked when the mirror...
Yes, when she looked out of the mirror. I love how they justify that she's still young, because the bank's children are now adults, and they have children. At least Michael has children of his own. And he says, you haven't aged a bit. And she says, you don't ask a woman about her age. It's a great way to fix that situation. Okay, so now, very cool, Dick Van Dyke, who is the old man at the end dancing on the desk. Now, he was in the original. He was Bert. Remember, Bert was a chimney sweep. He used many things in it, but he was a chimney sweep in the part that most people would remember. He also played a second role in the original film. He was Mr. Dawes Sr., and he was all made up. He was the man who owned the bank. And he actually fires Mr. Banks from his job. And then later in the film, he's laughing and he floats up into the sky, and we find out later that he died from laughing. And his son, Mr. Dawes Jr., takes over the bank, and he rehires Michael and Jane's father, Mr. Banks. He's the one that rehires them. Now, Dick Van Dyke in this movie is playing Mr. Dawes Jr., and he's so much older playing that role. That's kind of a really clever way to work him back in. And of course, Angela Lansbury, he's 93. He's 93. And Angela Lansbury is in the movie too, and she's also, I believe she's 93 too. And she was in, have you ever seen Bedknobs and Broomsticks? That's a Disney film.
No.
The interesting part about this is this trailer reminds me almost more of Bedknobs and Broomsticks in some ways than it does Mary Poppins. And she was in I believe she was in Bedknobs and Broomsticks. So that's kind of cool. So it's got a lot of old Disney in it because you have Dick Van Dyke and Angela Lansbury who were in those films when Walt Disney was still alive and he was producing the films.
That's cool.
And I thought they did a really good job of making. What'd you think of the animation, like the flowers? And
I
everything?
thought that was really cool how they went from like actual live and then they went to animated
Yeah, she
with
spun the
the
bowl
flowers.
and the picture came off. Interesting that in this day and age with all the CGI, they used the old school two-dimensional animation, which I'm a huge fan of, and I'm very glad they did that. It looked a little darker than Mary Poppins, the original, with Julie Andrews. Now the books are darker. The actual books that Mary Poppins is based on, they're a little darker. But Walt Disney kind of he gave it the Disney treatment and made it all. So I don't know how dark this will get. It seemed a little dark. Michael seemed a little depressed there, and the house didn't look like it was.
And also when you first see the film, it's like kind of gloomy.
Yes, it was very very
So-
gloomy until she gets in there. So it'll be interesting to see if they update it with a darker take on things. I like the end where she goes in the bathtub and gets sucked in. That looked great. It makes me want to see the movie. So it's a good try. I thought it was. I thought it hit every beat and was right on the money. The gentleman who's doing that, I said he had the Cockney accent. I'm not sure the role he's playing. I know he's playing a protege of Bert from the original movie, and he's mostly known as a stage actor, a Broadway actor. I thought he looked good in this. In previous films I've seen him in, I always felt like he plays the role great, but you can see him playing the role. I thought he was more immersed into this film, at least so far from what I've seen. So that was kind of cool. I'm interested to see what it's. I'm interested to go. Whereas I wasn't before, so the trailer works for me.
I was excited to see it because I like the first Mary Poppins. So.
Right. And Julie Andrews, as far as I know, no cameo or anything. I don't think she's involved in this, but that's okay. I mean, I think Emily Blunt's well cast. I don't think she's going to make you forget Julie Andrews, but I think maybe they'll coexist. I think that it's a nice pass off to her. So I think she'll do a good job. I don't feel like she's imitating Julie Andrews. It felt like she's doing her own thing with the part. Did you feel like she was imitating the actress from the movie? All right. Okay, well. For the trailer, yummy or crummy for you?
Yummy.
Yeah, and yummy for me. So, interested to see what they're going to do with it. Okay. Well, we'll pop off now.